Welcome. I was just doing some final updating of things and I was like, oh my God, it's 8:30. It's time to go live. So welcome tonight. This is the Wild Ginger Running live show. I'm Claire Maxted for anybody who is joining us new here this evening. I'm the host of Wild Ginger Running YouTube channel, as it says on my t-shirt and on my little patch here from the Adventure Running Company. So tonight's live trail chat is a Q&A. So usually I pre-record my Q&As. I answer about 6 or so questions from you guys that you've written in the YouTube comments. And because everything's a bit crazy at the moment, I've been doing so many festivals. I'm going to the UTMB next week. I haven't found time to do it and edit it. So I thought, why not try and do it live? So I've got some Patreon questions that I'm going to answer first of all, and then I'm just going to quickly check if anybody's got any more questions in the live chat as well, and I am just going to say some hellos. Wow, there's loads of people already in waiting. We've got Raz Does Bushcraft, hello to you. Gavin Allen, who is asking a really funny question, and maybe I will answer that because I've got a pretty funny story about this. You're going to wish that you hadn't asked that, Gavin. Robert Jordan is here as well. He's just put a run on Strava, which looks crazy. It goes around and around and around and around like that. I think he's been doing laps of something. So well done to Robert Jordan tonight. Then we've got it's just you guys just having a chat. We've got Up to the Summit, we've got Guy Greatrex, hi to you Guy, we've got Mad Paul, good name there, always like a mad person joining the chat. We've got Thunder Flash, we've got Leon Young, we've got Rob Jones, Alex DeHoto, not hot Hoto. I met him a couple of weekends ago and it's DeHoto, which it sounds very, very prestigious, doesn't it? I believe it's French from a way back. We've got Bran Van Diemen joining us. That's fantastic. Run Simon Run is joining us too. Sam City, Christian Reitella, Glenn Morris, and Robert Jordan. We'll just mention him again because he's just posted something about his new t-shirt that I've sent him for being a top dollar patron. So that is fantastic. Thank you all for joining us here tonight. So I've got some good news and bad news before I get started, and I've got the Patreon competition. I finally worked out what it is, so I'm going to tell you about that tonight as well, just before I get started with the questions. So I'm going to have to rattle through it a bit to get all the way through this in 1 hour. So first bit of good news, I am going to the UTMB, and I've managed to get media accreditation, which is the thing that you have to get, otherwise they don't allow you to do any stuff at the UTMB. So I've managed to get that. Yes. And today I have been setting up interviews with loads of really cool people. I've just heard back from Ian Sharman. I'm going to interview him. Beth Pascal, 4th at Western States, and 4th, was she 3rd lady last year? Oh my goodness, I really need to get all my research done. But yeah, Beth Pascal, I'm going to be interviewing her. Harry Runs, you might also be following Harry on his YouTube channel as well, so we'll be hearing from Harry too. Who else have I heard from? Rory Bosio, women's record holder for the UTMB, and she ran it, she's the only woman to have won it in 2 consecutive years. So 2013, 2014, she won it. She set a course record in 2013, so she is back. So I have got an interview with Rory Bosio. Amazing. I've also got an interview with a lady called Lucia Leonard, who is sort of like what I'd call a normal person. So I'm going to be talking to her as well. And Pascal Mathenet, who's one of my patrons, she's going to be there as well doing the OCC. We're going to hear from her a little bit later on in the programme because she sent me her latest training film. It was very windy. And we'll be hearing from her, so hopefully I'll be able to catch up with her too. Also got one of my top patrons, Carl Southgate. He's going to be out there too. He's not running, but hopefully I'm going to be able to hook up with him and do a little bit of running on the trails maybe. If anybody else is out there, then do let me know because it would be ace to see everybody. Apologies if I like literally say hi and then run past you because I will be on some crazy schedule to try and fit in all these elite athletes, because yeah, that's how it works. So that's one bit of good news. UTMB, fantastic, next week. The downside to that is that I can't do a live broadcast next Wednesday, but I'll let you know what I'm going to do. I might do some kind of live broadcast like at the start of the UTMB or something really exciting like that. So we'll just have to see how it goes, because I don't know what the reception's going to be like. I don't know what the signal's going to be like, and etc. But yeah, stay tuned next week for UTMB madness. The other thing that I am doing is a couple of talks on how to start trail running. So I'm doing one in Manchester on the 5th of September, and that's a Thursday, I think, and then one in London on the 17th of September, which is a Tuesday. And they're at the Ellis Brigham stores. So it's, I did that film a little while ago, How to Start Trail Running. We're going to show the film. We're going to just talk about trail running in general, because I know a lot of people, some people on Twitter were being real dicks about it. Actually, they were like, oh, it's not rocket science. Oh, it's just find your trail and run on it. But not everybody knows that. It's like saying, I really want to know how to play the bassoon. How do I play the bassoon? And someone coming up to you and go, oh, it's not rocket science. Well, it's sort of, if you don't know anything about a thing, you need somebody to help you learn the thing, don't you? So I'm really thrilled that some of my patrons are going to come and support these talks, and maybe bring some friends with them too. So we've got Guy Greatorex coming in Manchester. It'll be fantastic to hook up with him there, and Simon Gerhardt is coming to the London one as well. So do tell all of your friends who are runners, or maybe they're road runners, you want to get them off onto trails so you can have more friends to run trails with you. So yeah, Ellis Brigham in September. Book your tickets now. Right, so bad news. So some of you will already know this. Some very bad news happened 2 weeks ago. I'm just going to show you and do a sad face. This happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago on a patron run. So there was about 7 or 8 of us there, and we were doing a run from Fotheringhay, because that is where me and a couple of other people from my running club are setting up trail running races next year. So we're going to do 10 miles and 20 miles. It's called the Neem Valley Races. Look it up on SI Entries. We've got tickets are on sale now. But basically, I thought I'd put my GoPro in my pocket. I missed my pocket. It fell on the floor outside my car. I didn't realise it. A lorry must have run over it, because by the time I got back to it, it looked like this. And I'm so sad, because this was the first thing that I bought with all the patron funding. So I'm really sorry, guys. I'm really sorry that this has happened. I'm really gutted about this. And at the time, I was like, I wanted to just cry. Either cry or swear a lot and have a massive tantrum and roll on the floor and just beat my fists. But I couldn't, because there was patrons all around me, so I had to be really professional. So I've done the crying, I've done the screaming, I phoned the insurance company. These are about 300 quid. You can get them for about 300 quid. But when I registered it with my insurance company, stupidly, I put my excess up to £350. Why did I do that? So I've got to just buy a new one. So I'm just looking at eBay at the moment, trying to get the best deal I can. But I'm really sorry, guys. The first thing I bought with your really kind funding, all you patrons, has broken. So I'm going to buy another one. And thank you so much for supporting me so generously that I can actually have the funds to do this. So thank you. And that is the bad news. Bad news is now over. Thinking about doing a review about the Hero 7, because it's there's great things about it and there's really, really rubbish things about it that really annoy me and have been really annoying other people in forums that I've looked at. So I might do a review of the GoPro Hero 7 Black and put it online, and maybe that will eventually earn me the money to buy the new one, because I think it would be a really good thumbnail, wouldn't it, of the broken GoPro. Fab. Okay, so that is bad. But all your questions were very good. So just before we come on to the questions, we have got the August competition, which I do need to very much tell you about. So I'm going to show you what is in the competition. First up, we have it's 400 quid's worth of prizes, and then there's 2 runner-up prizes as well. So we've got, first of all, a Silva Trail Runner 4 Ultra head torch. So that is up for grabs if you win. And then we've got the Camelbak Ultra 10 pack, which looks like so, as well as the Camelbak Ultra Belt. I have one of those. Where is that? I don't know if I've got it just here. Oh, I don't know where it is. I'll find it later. But I had that and I reviewed it a couple of weeks ago. So they only come in black at the moment, but my one is turquoise because those are the colours for February next year. So then we've got a CMP top, which is worth £57. There's also a male one as well. So don't worry, guys, you don't have to wear baby pink. Then we have a load of goodies from Ultimate Performance, which they actually sent me, so I can show you them right here. So we've got the first prize winner will win this. It's a Tarn 1.5 litre rucksack with a hydration bladder. It's so new that it's even in all the wrapping. I'm not going to take the wrapping off, so it's pristine condition when you receive it. And then they have sent me like loads of like other stuff that looks really useful. So there is some cold gel, and I believe there is also some hot gel, which is called Heat Rub. They should have called it hot gel, shouldn't they? Really. So you've got that as well. First prize winner. Then you've got some toe protectors. I have never used one of these, but they look like they might come in handy. And then, oh, this definitely comes in handy. This is kinesiology tape, K-tape. Absolutely brilliant. That's good. Okay, so then that's the first prize. So that's a total of 400 quid, pretty much. £402 it is. Then we've got the second prize, which is one of these performance gym balls. Isn't that cool? So that is second prize. That's worth 22 quid. And then the third prize winner will win these cute little support socks. So there's some support socks that you can wear. It's relief for stiff, weak or sore ankles. So that is the third prize. They are £12. So lots of great prizes. So I'll be drawing that. Do you know what? I'm going to draw that while I'm in the UTMB. So I'm going to take my little bag of everybody's names and I'm going to draw it at the UTMB. Somebody's just put something very amusing. It's the same Gavin Allen, I think he's a bit of a comedian, this Gavin. So he's put, why don't you just sell the stuff and buy a new GoPro? Ha ha. Well, obviously I can't do that because that would be ethically wrong. So thank you for that suggestion, but nah, not going to happen. Sadly, I made my mistakes and I have to put up with them. So, nice thought though. Oh yeah, Robert Jordan wants to know which cam would I buy to blog. I would just buy the Hero 7 Black again. I have thought of other options, but I will be doing a review later of what I think of it, and I've looked at the other options, but basically the electronic stability that comes as standard in the Hero 7 is just brilliant, and it's better than all the other footage that I've seen of any of the other cameras, so I've just got to put up with the glitches and the workarounds for the GoPro 7 for the time being. Fab. Conrad's joined us. That is fantastic. Yeah, so Conrad says, sorry about the GoPro. Oh, thanks, Conrad. Yeah, I know, accidents happen. Oh, damn it. I'm totally over it now, as you can see. Okay, so that's the competition done. If you want to be in with a chance to win these prizes, you've still got time to sign up to Patreon. Patreon is www.patreon.com/wildgingerrunning. So you get tons of perks on there, like for loyalty at certain tiers, you get the Wild Ginger Running buff. You will get, for certain tiers, you get a Wild Ginger Running t-shirt. And then everybody's going to get a Christmas present from me. I'm really excited about this because I love wrapping presents. So everybody's going to get a Christmas present from me. And you basically get like access to me and a whole host of elite experts. You can ask experts questions, you can ask elite athletes questions. Basically it means I pay attention more to you if you are a patron, and I welcome you into the fold. There's a Facebook group, there's a Strava group, and everyone's really nice. Like all of the patrons are really, really lovely people, and you're just part of like this really cool crowd of nice people basically who will support you in your running. So that's what you've got to do if you want to enter this competition to win 400 quid's worth of amazing trail running gear, head torch from Silva, CMP running top, Camelbak backpack and waist belt, and a whole bundle of those ultimate performance goodies, including a backpack and like hot and cold stuff that you rub on yourself. And second prize, the ball, the fitness ball, and the support sock for the third prize. So, now that we've gathered everyone here together, and everybody is watching, and we've gone through the good news, we've gone through the bad news, we've gone through the competition. I've got a lovely selection of questions that I'm going to answer here tonight. So feel free to like chip in on the live chat if you've got like, you know, suggestions and stuff. I'll try to keep hold of it. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this name right, but welcome to Neve Uchalea. I'm so sorry, I've probably pronounced that really wrong. And Adam Nodwell is here as well. Hello to you. And Simon Dan, excellent. I love everyone's YouTube names. It makes mine look really boring, doesn't it? There's somebody on Instagram called Shocked Prawn who follows me, and I just think that's a great name. It's really random, but it's a great name. Anyway, I digress. Oh, I do have to say welcome to our new patrons as well. Very warm welcome to new patrons: J.C. Lundberg, Amate Tay, Kate Shepherd, Tanya Dunn, and Rennie Faint. I hope I've pronounced all your names right as well. So, first question is from patron Guy Greaterex. He thinks he's got runner's knee or tendonitis pain behind the kneecap. How can you tell the difference, and how can you cure it? So, I am not personally a trained a physiotherapist or anything like that. So what I always do in these situations is I refer people to the good book. This is basically my injury Bible. So if anything niggles, I look in here first. So this is by Paul Hobrough. I'll put a link to it actually in the description, in the YouTube description below. But basically this covers the whole of the like from the feet all the way up to the hips, like the whole of the leg basically for runners. And there's a whole section on the knee. So there's a whole section here. I could sit here for an hour and read this to you, but I think it would be good for Paul if you would buy his book, obviously, because he does talk about runner's knee, as you can see just here, runner's knee. And he gives a self-assessment here. He says it's pain in the anterior knee, pain felt behind the kneecap. Do this, do that, and you can tell what you've got. So I would get this book, Guy, if you haven't got it already. And then patella tendinopathy as well. And it's got a nice diagram there. And then he's got all these exercises that you can do to rehab it yourself, and what you would expect from a specialist who's going to rehab that as well. So it's called Running Free of Injuries, and it's by Paul Hobrough, and it's my go-to injury book for if anybody's got an injury. If you can't solve your injury using this book, then I would very, very, very much recommend just booking in with a good sports physio. So if you live near Newcastle, then that's great because you could go and see Paul himself or one of his associates. If you live near Leeds, I really recommend Ali Rose and Graham Everard, who were Jessica Ennis Hill's physios. And their associates as well. But basically, if you go to a running club or you've got sort of an online, like friends, like a local sort of online running chat group, then ask them who is a good physio, because you want somebody who's good locally and not too expensive. And basically go to the physio, do all the exercises that they tell you. If they tell you to rest, get on the bike, go swimming, go rock climbing, do Pilates, do whatever they say, and hopefully that will be your injury gone. So I hope that helps you, Guy, and hope that helps you anybody else who is suffering from an injury of any kind. So then moving on, we have next question from patron Rob Jordan. He says, this is a very amusing question: how can somebody who is addicted to running stop to recover, apart from being strapped to a chair in a straitjacket? So Rob is this amazing character. He is such a supportive and friendly member of the patron community, right? So he discovered running this time last year, and he used to weigh a lot more than he weighed now. He's lost like 4 stone. It's absolutely incredible. He's just like done so well, and we're all really proud of him. But basically he's got addicted to running, so he now like can't stop, and he's just running all the time. And also he does like really good work with his running club, Penkridge Runners, and he's always being asked to sort of go out and take the beginners on runs like 5k, 10ks, that kind of run. And he finds it difficult to not run, because even if he doesn't really want to run. He feels like he has to with all the other people, which is fair enough. Like, we all get that. We all feel like the pressure to run all the time. But actually, if you were listening last Wednesday to Tom Evans's talk, if you haven't watched it yet, then do go and watch it, because it is a really, really good talk, because he had a niggle, or he was tired after a race, and he just didn't run for like 3 or 4 days. And he was like, I'm a top runner. I'm paid to be a runner. I'm sponsored by Red Bull and Adidas to be a runner. And I haven't been running for like a week nearly. And he was just fine with that. I think if somebody of that level can be fine about not running for a bit just to make sure that they can run forever, then I think that is a really good message to us all. You could try other things that I've just thought might help you, Rob. You could try a different sport. So if it's not running, you could go for a swim, or you could go for a cycle ride, rock climbing, yoga, that kind of thing. Like, do a body balance class at the gym or something like that. You could try being strict with yourself. So you could just say, no, you're not allowed to go. Like, do other jobs, or like book something with a friend who doesn't run. You could walk instead of run. Like, active recovery is really good too. So walking's great because it doesn't have the same impact as running, and you're still doing stuff. You're still getting active. I'm just going to open the window because it's getting really hot in here. I've got this light here. Can you see it? It's like a studio light because it's really dark in here otherwise, and you can't see me. So, but it's really, really hot. I'm going really red. Let me just open the window. Steve, my husband, he told me to shut the window because he's vacuuming the car because we're taking it in for a service tomorrow. But I think he's finished now. So fine to open the window. Anyway, so yes, the other thing that Rob could do is cycle with the other runners. So say you're just taking them running and it's on, quite a wide path, not necessarily footpaths because you can't cycle on them, but if you're on bridleways, on, pavements and things like that, then you could cycle next to them. So then you're still supporting them, but you're just cycling. I would aim to personally have at least one rest day per week, especially from running. Personally, I only run 3 times a week, maximum 4, possibly 5. I find that if I start to run more than 4 times a week, I will get injured. So it's not that I don't exercise most days. Most days I try to do 1 hour of exercise a day. Otherwise, I get I just don't feel good about myself. My brain doesn't work properly. I like to be active every day. But I usually have 1 rest day a week, like either a Monday or a Friday usually. So yeah, definitely watch Tom Evans' chat from last Wednesday because he's really sensible and he gives some really good advice. So I will hook you up with that in the YouTube description below. Fantastic. So just checking the live chat. Excellent. Okay, so we have got another injury question just coming from William Smith, which is a really good one. Just after, because Guy asked about his knee injury. So William Smith says, hi, did shockwave therapy clear up your plantar fasciitis? He's had bother with it himself for the last 4 months. So, well, okay, so I had plantar fasciitis quite badly. It took me out of running for possibly 18 months. It was really, really annoying. And I went to Paul Hobrough, the author of the book that I just showed you, Running Free of Injuries, and he gave me a course, just a session of acupuncture and shockwave therapy. There is a film of it on my website. The sound is not good because the iPhone I don't know what it's doing. It just wasn't working well with the live, but it is worth watching if you can persevere with it because Paul explains what shockwave therapy does. I'll hook you up with that in the description below as well, and if I forget to do that, then please message me in the YouTube description and I will put it in there. It did, amazingly, I didn't suffer with the plantar fasciitis for all 4 days of the Camelbak Ultra. And then the moment that I got into flat shoes, I was wearing really thin, flat flip-flop type things, it came back. And so for me, it's now a case of managing it rather than curing it. I think I've gone back to 10mm drop shoes just because I've just found my feet just can't cope with lower drop shoes. I've had to get other people to test trail running shoes for me because I'm basically wearing road shoes everywhere. I basically, whenever I wear low drop sandals with not a lot of cushioning, I feel it coming back. So I can't wear slim, minimal shoes with a low drop anymore. So that's basically how I've solved it, and that's sort of how I'm continuing to solve it, but I'll let you know if anything improves. But I can't keep going up to Newcastle to get treatment from Paul, and I'm too stingy to fork out for like loads of therapy when I'm sort of managing it okay now. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, William. And Up to the Summit wants to know, how do people deal with injuries psychologically? Like, if you can't do it, what do you do for the mind? I suppose you could meditate. You can do like quite a lot of good stuff with Pilates and yoga, which often you can do no matter how injured you are. And you can also watch a lot of YouTube films to get sort of re-inspired for when you will start running again. Yeah, that's a tough one. And I think I'm going to make a note of that, because I'm going to the UTMB. So I'm going to ask Ian Sharman, who's actually just pulled out of the UTMB because of an Achilles injury. I'll ask him how he copes. Like, how cope inj psychologically. Okay, thanks for that. I will ask Ian Sharman, and I'll do like a little 10-minute film about that coming up. So just keep watching the YouTube channel. This is so useful. Thank you, everybody. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm just going to move on to the next question. A guy, oh yeah, and this is really good. Loads of people are coming back to Up to the Summit as well with like answers about how they deal with injury as well. So like, it's great. Like, just help each other out on the group chat. That's absolutely fantastic. That is what this is supposed to be all about. So John Taff Watts wants to know if running up hills, like big hills and mountains, is the only way to get better at running up hills. So basically, do you have to go to the mountains to get good at running in mountains? And I would say the short answer to that is no. You don't have to live in the mountains to be good at mountainous races. For example, Tom Evans, I keep going back to him because I literally spoke to him last week. He lives in Suffolk, not the most mountainous of places in the UK, very rolling of hills. Yes, there are hills, but they're very much rolling, and it's nothing like the Alps. He won the CCC last year. He came third in MDS the year before that, and he's just come third at Western States, which is hugely hilly, and he lives in Suffolk. So he is living proof that you can be amazing at mountain running without running up big mountains. But what you do need to do is a lot of hill repeats, which is arguably tougher than just going up a big mountain. There's less views, and it's a bit more it's difficult psychologically. So basically, John, what you need to do is hill repeats. So that's, for anyone who doesn't know what hill repeats are, it's find a hill. It doesn't have to be like this. It's the more runnable the better, because you're going to get more running training out of it. I like to vary the gradient of my hill and the length of time that I'm running up it, just for to get to kind of cover all bases. So you're kind of working out a different set of gears when you do this kind of training. So you basically, for a beginner hill session, you'd want to just go for 30 seconds. You just sprint up that hill for 30 seconds, but make it a sort of a sustainable sprint. So you're going to probably start off with like doing 5 of those. So you want to be able to sprint at roughly the same speed for 5 of those. So you learn a little bit about how to pace yourself as well. So like tomorrow, I'm a bit tired because I've been doing quite a lot this week. So I'm just going to do I like to do 10 minutes of effort when I do a hill session. So I will do 60 seconds of hill, and I'll do that 10 times because that makes 10 minutes of effort. Say if I was going to do a 90-second hill, a longer hill, then I would do 6 to 7 efforts, and might do a 60-minute one to finish it off at the end. So that's what I would do. Yes. Bran van Diemen actually lives in the Netherlands, and he says that there are some excellent mountain runners, but being flat and having training is a bit of a problem. Yep. Yep, it is a problem, but you just have to find a hill. Like, even if it's a subway, even if it's a like a flyover, going up steps in buildings. I know a guy called Raj Mahapatra who's interviewed elsewhere on this channel, and he trained for the Bob Graham Round whilst living in London and Manchester, both flat cities. And he trained by going up and down really small hills and then doing a series of squats and jumps up onto a bench. I've got a bench beasting series that sort of copies his training. So you can get onto a bench and do step ups and jump ups onto the bench to really just strengthen your quad muscles. And he also ran up and down steps in one of those, like in a big multi-story car park. It's awful. It's really hard on you, but that training will really boost you psychologically as well. So you can think to yourself, when you're doing like your 10th run up this block of flat steps, you can think how amazingly psychologically prepared you are for that race. And when you get to a proper hill, you'll just be like, wow, this is so easy. There's such a nice view. It's amazing. So yes, you just have to do hill repeats, and then you can live anywhere you like, and you can get better at running up hills. Actually, Helen Whitaker, knee diamantitis, who is very famous for winning the Dragon's Back race in 1992 as a mixed pair with Martin Stone, she actually trained for the 2012 Dragon's Back race. She had 2 small children, so she couldn't leave the house to go running in the mountains all the time. So she did loads of squats and lunges and step-ups wearing a weighted pack. So that's also something that you can do to progress your hill training, is put a pack on that's heavier than what you would usually run with, and then when you are using your race pack with all your race kit in, it's really light, and you're just like like that. So that's another little tip there. And use water. Don't fill it with loads of gear, fill it with loads of water bottles, because then if you get really knackered halfway through, you can ditch the water. You wouldn't want to ditch the gear. Read. Okay. Some interesting questions. Interesting questions coming up. Some people are loving hill sprints, like Stephen J. Reed loves hill sprints. That's good to know. Do you know what? I actually really like hill sprints as well. Sometimes I've been out and I've been like plodding along and I'm like, oh, I'm so bored. Oh, I feel really crap. And then I just go, do you know what? I'm just going to do like 5 hill sprints to make myself feel like I've done some effort. And I do 5 hill sprints and it's great. It's wonderful. And you just really wake up and then you think, oh, great, I've done a great session now. I'll just jog home because it's really good. Yeah, so lots of great suggestions. I've got a great suggestion from Abby Norman about when you're injured, you can help the running community in other ways, like good gym, marshalling, that kind of thing, offering coaching sessions. That is a fantastic way to stay in touch with the running community whilst injured. So yeah, thank you very much for that one, Abby. Lots of people agreeing with that. And then we've got a question from Mark McClellan saying, how long will it take me to run a mile as never run before? Well, how long is a piece of string, Mark? I do not know. I think you should go out and run a mile and tell us how long it took you. It could take you, walking a mile takes about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how fast you walk. Maybe 20 minutes for most people if you've never run before. To walk that mile. So I would say you might run your first mile in, say, 15 minutes. But the best way to run your first mile would be to jog for 30 seconds and walk for 30 seconds. Then jog for 30 seconds, then walk for 37 seconds. Like the Couch to 5K program. It gets you incorporating jogging and walking, gradually reduces the walking time down till you can jog the whole thing. So I wouldn't worry about how long it takes you to run a mile. Just go and run that mile without stopping. That's the aim. The running without stopping. That is the aim. So I hope that helps you there, Mark. Rob Jones wants my. Is this an opinion question? Maybe. Do you think the central governor theory is a good thing for ultra running or a bad thing? So the central governor theory is something that Ross Edgley was talking about in my last film on Monday from Love Trails Festival. So Ross Edgley swam around the whole of Britain, and to do that he had to override various pain signals that he was receiving. He got so salty of the mouth that chunks of skin on his tongue started to just fall off. He was chafing everywhere, bits of skin were falling off. It sounded horrendous. There's no way that I would ever do anything like that because I'm not into pain anymore at all. So the central governor theory is something that Ross talks about within sort of sports psychology. He's really big into sports psychology. He's got a book out called World's Fittest the world's fittest book, which I was confused about first of all, because I was like, how can you have a fit book? But he means the world's fittest book about how to be the world's fittest. So he talks about the central governor theory, and that's basically that you've always got a bit more than you think. So you can always give a bit more than you think you can give. So and it's basically based on the fact that we are animals, and if something happened to just start chasing us, we'd be able to, with adrenaline, run faster than we'd ever run before, for longer than we've ever been able to run before. And some people, especially sports people, and probably like all successful sports people, can tap into that kind of that sense of, oh my god, I've got to give it everything. But other people stay within the comfort zones. And so the central governor theory is basically that your brain can override these signals that it's sending to your body saying, stop, you're in pain, stop, you're in pain. You can override it by just pushing through. And while I think that's great, like it is good to achieve certain goals, you have got to know when the pain is an injury, which might be an injury for life, or just a bit of pain that you can sort of push through. And it's really hard to know that. So I would always err on the edge of caution. But if you're really experienced and you know your body really, really well, then you can do more to override that central governor theory. You can do more to override the pain signals that your body is sending you. But I wouldn't really advocate doing that loads. And like that's the whole reason why there's not many people like him who can swim around the whole of Britain, because not many people can do it, because it's not always a good idea. That is my honest opinion. I didn't say that to Ross. And it is really nice that he's inspiring people to like push themselves out of their comfort zones and achieve all these amazing goals. But I just think that running and doing sport shouldn't always be about, pushing yourself, rah, rah, rah. It should be about enjoying it and having a nice time, and there's no shame in just going and doing as much as you want to do and not having to go, I need to push myself left, right and centre. You don't have to do that. You only got one life. Unless you're in a survival situation, you don't really need to push yourself any more than you have to. Yeah, so I hope I've answered Rich Simpson's questions there about the central governor theory. If you want a better explanation of that, then watch Monday's film, which is called Love Trails Festival. It's basically the film before this one on my YouTube channel, so check that out. And Ross actually gives a really good description of central governor theory. It's basically how to override pain in your brain. It's all in your head. Okay, so Neve has questions about flying to a race. Hopefully you are flying over for the Nene Valley 10 or 20, which is in June, Saturday, June the 13th. It's my race that I'm organising with a couple of people from my running club. Sorry, a moth has just come in because obviously I've opened the window and now they're attracted to this really big moon of a light here. So Neve says, anyone flown to a race before and have any tips for flying and having all you need but avoid charges at the airport? Oh, well, this is a good one because I'm going to the UTMB next week and I've got to take a bike helmet, a sleeping bag, everything that I need to run about and film everything. And I am too stingy to pay for baggage, so I am taking it all as hand luggage. So I've got a backpack here. One tip I would say is get your bag and just don't get a big bag. Get the bag that you're allowed. So this bag is like 30-litre bag. And then you can't pack more than what will fit in the bag. If you've got a big bag, you pack more. So use a small bag. That's my first tip. Get all the things that, all the liquids and stuff. Make sure they're in 10ml bottles. If you've got a huge bottle of sun cream, they're not going to let that through unless it's in your hold luggage. So that's another tip. Charges at the airport, to avoid those kind of things, read all the small print, basically. Like if you're going with Ryanair or EasyJet, I'm going with EasyJet to UTMB. So read all the small print and make sure you know exactly what the weight is, what the size is of your bag, and try and fit everything in there. And you can also do things like wear your running kit, like especially your trainers, just in case you get separated from your bag. You've definitely got your running kit then. And other things you can do is if you want to scrimp on hold luggage, you can just wear loads of stuff. It will be June, so maybe it'd be a bit hot, but at least you've got everything, because they don't weigh you, do they? So you can put loads of stuff in your pockets, but they just weigh your bag. So yeah, those are my tips for flying and running. Hope that helps. Yeah, lots of other people agreeing with that. Wear your competition shoes. Yeah, so just in case the luggage gets lost. Great. Okay, so next question is also from a patron called Masood Kalali. He asks when you should change running shoes. So this is interesting. People quote like anything from 300 to 500 miles, which is when that, you know, the EVA foam that usually makes up the midsole of the shoe kind of loses its bounce. But who's counting their miles exactly? Like, I'm not counting the exact miles that I've run in my shoes, even though I should, because Strava's got that little thing, the drop down thing, where you can change the shoes that you wore for your run. But unless you're like really super good at doing that, you sometimes forget. So it's hard to know how many miles your shoe has actually run. So you can do it by a few other ways. So we've got wear, first of all, and then feel. So with wear, the shoe might not be grippy anymore. So you can have a look. I was going to bring a shoe up with me. But the shoe will start to wear in the grip, and that is a really good sign that you need to change shoes, because the grip is usually stronger than the midsole cushioning in the shoe. So if the grip's gone, then the midsole has probably definitely gone and there's no bounce left in it. Or the other reason is that your uppers might have a hole in. You know, as you run, there's like that bit there, like at the start of the toes, that often it's always being moved, so you often get a hole there. Or the other thing that I get is if you've got a bit of a long toenail, like that, it can stick the big toe. There can be a hole at the big toe area where your toenail sort of jabbed upwards into the upper of the shoe. If your uppers get a hole in like really super early, like you've only run like 100 miles in them or something, then I would send them back. And you can also do things like press the midsole, and if there's no give in it, if there's no bounce, you can't feel the bounce, then it might have gone like bounceless. You can also sort of press the midsole down and see if there's any compression lines in the midsole. That is hard to do because companies often put loads of like squiggly stuff in that kind of squishy midsole area, so that's hard to do. But if you see lines there that don't spring back again, then that can be a sign of too much wear in the shoe. The other thing is the feel. So one thing I noticed when my Brooks Adrenaline shoes were like dying basically is that I started getting like a hip pain. So your knees or your hips might suddenly start aching. You might get shin splints a little bit more often than you would usually. That's a sign of the midsole cushioning losing its bounce, so it's less shock absorbing. And so basically if your shoes aren't comfy anymore, then change them, get a new pair. If that pair worked really well for you, then get the same again. I'm a massive believer in if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that is what I would say. Yeah, lots of people saying, like Neve saying here, she ran in hers until they wore out and they didn't give the support they need. I'm really bad for that. I run in shoes until they're like literally got holes everywhere. Don't do what I do. Get new shoes. That's great. And Guy Greatorex has also given a really good tip. When you start slipping on the trails, then start changing shoes. So yes, that is a really good point. So when you start slipping on the trails, it could be a sign that you've worn down the grip. So then you'd want to change your shoes. Yes, that's a really good tip. Leon Young wants to know, are people holding on to the Innovate graphene shoes longer? So this is a question about the Innovate graphene shoes. So graphene grip is a kind of a carbon-based grip that they've worked on with people at university. And it's supposed to be 50% stronger and 50% more grippy than normal grip. So funny you should mention that, because I've actually just had a test review back from Victoria Mosley, who's been testing my Innovate graphene grip shoes for me because I couldn't wear them. She was wearing the graphene grip to the Terra, I think they were the the Trail Rock, the Trail Rock 260s. I'll have to get back to you on which shoes they actually were, because they keep bombarding me with different shoes at the moment. And so she's just written about them, and she was saying that the grip is really, really good. She's run about 200 miles in them, and the grip is really super. I have also seen posts on the Trail Running UK Facebook group, and there's a whole thread on people loving graphene, and so it does seem to be working long term for people. So it seems like a good option at the moment. And Innovate always did good grip shoes anyway, but graphene does seem to be giving the shoes the edge. So I'm going to go thumbs up for graphene at the moment. Keep me posted if you have any issues with graphene shoes, and we'll change that. But at the moment, graphene seems to be doing well. So yes to the graphene shoes. Cool thing from Raz Does Bushcraft here. He says that he turns his old shoes into camp sandals when they're worn down. That's a really interesting idea. Nice one. We need to see a photo of that. I think it would be good if you could get photos on this YouTube chat thing, wouldn't it? Yeah. Oh, Guy Greytrex, really good feedback here from Guy Greytrex. He finds his graphene shoes last longer than normal, so that's good. You can't really know. Like, they launched them last July, so the most that anyone's going to have worn them is like a year and a half if you had some early test pairs. Nikki Spinks did have an early test pair. She's done a lot of her double classic British rounds in them, the mountain rounds. She did her double Ramsey round, the double Paddy Buckley round, I think, in a pair of graphene. Probably the really ones, what are they called, mud claws, the graphene mud claws. She did that in them, and she said that they are brilliant and they have lasted forever, and there's not a lot of wear in them. But she is also an Innovate athlete, so she has to say that. So I know Nikki wouldn't lie about stuff like that. She doesn't mince her words, but you do have to take that kind of thing with a pinch of salt. So I'm looking more to the people on the UK Trail Running forum for comments about the longevity of graphene, but it seems to be going well so far. Okay, so now we have a question. They've been mowing in the fields around here. So yesterday at Running Club, we ran through this cloud of just corn in the air. So I look really hay fevery right now, because basically it's just up my nose and really itchy. So sorry about that. I just got paranoid that you'd think I was like doing coke or something, because I'm always like touching my nose, but it's basically I've opened the window and now all the pollen is coming into my face. So we've got a question here from Bob Barr, who had a bad fall when out trail running on his own, and so he's looking to apps for safety. I'm really glad that Bob is okay. Everything went fine for him. He managed to get back onto the trail. That's fantastic news, and I'm really sorry that you had that fall, Bob. But he is looking into apps now for safety when out running on his own. And I actually put a post out on Twitter, because Road ID have an app. So I've got this thing that I use for safety. Guy Greytrex has got one of these as well. I use one of these for safety when I'm out running on the trails. It's a Road ID bracelet, and it says Claire Maxted, it says emergency contact Stephen Hall, that's my husband, Sharon Maxted, that's my mum. She would not want to know, poor thing. And it says no allergies on there, because I'm not allergic to anything. You can give me anything. I've gaffer taped over their numbers, just because I make a lot of films and I put them on YouTube. It's a public forum. I don't want everyone ringing my mum. She doesn't want everyone ringing her. She's up for a chat, but I don't want everybody to know my mum's phone number. So that's why it's gaff taped over. But the emergency services, all they have to do is peel that off, and there you go. So this is a Road ID. You can get it in lots of different colours, lots of different attachments. You can get a plasticky one as well. You can get a different attachment as well. This is a Velcro one, so it's really easy to get on and off. I've worn it quite a lot. I wore it quite a lot in the Isle of Man as well, from a 100 miler, just because people didn't know me there, and sometimes you don't necessarily know when someone knows that you're expected back. So I wore it a lot there. That's not an app. Sorry, I'm digressing. But basically, Road ID, who make the bracelet, they also do an app, which is the Road ID safety app, and it's an app which it does a thing on your phone. You know how the lock screen has you can't get into the lock screen. So it has a lock screen which has your emergency contact details in, which is really handy if somebody can't get into your phone and you've fallen off something. It also has a tracker thing, and it also has a thing where if you've stopped for 5 minutes, it will alert somebody. I'm sure you can change the time frame on that, because if I've stopped for 5 minutes, nobody should alert anybody, because it's basically because I've bumped into somebody with a nice dog and I am chatting to them. So that would not be good for me. If I stop for more than an hour, then yeah, maybe you'd be a bit worried then. But actually no, because I'm probably just setting up some kind of photo somewhere or looking at some mushrooms on the floor. So yeah, that is the Road ID app. I emailed the Road ID people today, and they actually said it's not out in the UK yet. So for all the American people watching, then that's great. But for all the British people watching, I now need to read Twitter, because I need to read what people have put. So, right, let's just click on this thing and click on my post. Okay, so we've had quite a lot of tweets about this. So the Runfluencer says they use the OS Locate app, but they say the main thing is to have a paper map, compass, and the correct clothing and food rations. Well, that's all well and good, but if you actually fallen over and had an accident, you need an app, like a safety app, don't you? So Steve Morgan says he has OS Locate on his phone as well. Ross Brannigan says Garmin InReach, he's heard is great. Otherwise, there's Strava Beacon. Apparently that's okay, but temperamental. And he says he doesn't find it that bad. And then the other thing which has been in the newspaper quite a lot recently is, which Citizen of Nowhere has brought up, is what 3 words. So this is really interesting, because a friend of mine used this recently in a cycling accident, and it really, really works, and it really helps. The police told them to download it. So it's called What 3 Words, and it's a really good in emergencies for getting your precise location. So basically they've divided the whole of the globe into 3 by 3 meter grid squares, and they've given each grid square a combination of 3 words. So you can have like triangle, pineapple, banana, like that could be your grid square, and it's a really precise location, and it's better than longitude, latitude numbers, because people just get confused by those. So that is good, and you can use that even when you are offline. So that is a really good app. The real Ian Moody says you can allow other people to track you on Google Maps. That's a really good suggestion. You can set that for a specified length of time as well. All you need to have is their contact details. Daryl Foster says get a PBL. I'm assuming that's a personal locator beacon. He wouldn't trust or rely on anything, or rely on a phone anywhere remote. So there's also open tracking that's run by James Thurlow, who also runs Open Adventure. I've done quite a lot of his races in the past, especially his adventure races years ago now. You can get a little tracker from him, and that's what they use on a lot of races. I used him on the Cape Wrath Ultra. I don't know, we had a huge thing on the Cape Wrath Ultra. It was like a big thing. It was like a huge EPIRB type thing. It was massive. But yes, you can use something like that. You can hire those. I've got loads of people replying to this one. Ivor Hewitt says that Glimpse is pretty good. That's GLYMPSE. It's they are a pioneer in real-time location sharing technology. It's good with low power, good in remote areas. Daz K recommends all of the things that have been mentioned already, and also taking a power bank, because you can charge up any of your electronic equipment. I always take one of those Goal Zero little flip charger things. I'm going to show you what they look like now. So I've got one here. So this is the Goal Zero Flip 10. I use these all the time, and you just plug in your stuff to the USB point there. You can also charge it at the same time as plugging something in, and you can plug it in here to recharge it, and then the other stuff comes out here, and then if you press that, you can see how much charge is left in it. So that will do a whole mobile phone and possibly a little bit more, or a whole GoPro and possibly a little bit more. So these are so handy. I use these all the time. I've got 3 and I just carry them in my backpack all the time. Lipstick and Trainers recommends oh no, she's just asking other people. Lots of people recommending OS Locate. That's great. I've just clicked off the wrong thing. View Ranger. Oh no, that's not that. Blah blah blah. Lots of people just recommending a GPS. The British Red Cross have a first aid app, which sounds handy. Lots of people recommending what 3 words. They've said it's fantastic. Mountain Rescue are using what 3 words? And Garmin InReach Mini, not an app, but it's a GPS tracker using satellite, and it doesn't use mobile phone signal, so it's good for remote areas. So thank you to everybody on Twitter who responded to that. That was a ton of people. That's amazing. So I hope that answers your question, Bob, and I hope that you're feeling better about that fall. I'm just going to see if there's anything on the live chat that anybody has written in about. Yeah, loads of people chatting on the live chat. So check on the live chat. Thunder Flash says Garmin has an accident detector on the Forerunner 245. That's brilliant. I'm hoping to test that soon. Rich Simpson says, yeah, PBL, a personal locator beacon. So yeah, Raz does bushcraft, often carries it for his bushcraft. Someone's laughing at me doing coke / hay fever. Guy Greatorex says there's a run angle that you can wear. What is an angle? Is that a spelling mistake? A run angle that you're aware, and if you are in danger, you can press it and it sends a message. Yes, I've heard of those things. They're like little things that you can get, like a safety dot. And you press a button if you've had a problem and you can't move, and yeah, you hold the button down and then they get your location. Yeah, Rob Jones. Oh, this is interesting. The Fenix 5 has that's the Garmin Fenix 5, and that's a GPS watch, has a hold button. And if you hold a certain button, it sends details to an emergency contact. Now, that sounds like a really good idea because it's not like, 999 immediately. It's just send it to somebody who can then assess the situation like in real time. Yes, Mad Paul says, also informing friends and family of your estimated route, date and time helps, smiley face. That is brilliant advice, and that is exactly what I was going to say next. So I was going to say next, always tell someone where you're going and what time you expect to be back, or at least write it on paper and leave it on your car seat. Do not tell anyone who is likely to be really worried about you, like my mum, hence why I have covered up her phone number. Don't be telling my mum what you're doing because she'll get really worried about you. Yeah, I don't tell her anything until I've come back, that's for sure. I did a shark dive in the Caribbean, and I didn't tell her till I got back, and she was really pleased. So yeah, tell someone where you're going and what time you expect to be back, and then just kind of do that. Like, don't go off piste, or if you do, text someone and tell them what you're doing, because if you constantly are a person who's like an hour late back anyway, no one's going to notice if you're an hour late back and it's something's gone wrong. So try to sort of plan your dive and dive your plan. You know, the rules of plan your run and run your plan. Plan your run and run your plan. Yes, that's it. And the other thing I was going to say is, yes, that is very important, because who's read that book? The book about the guy, 128 Hours. They made a film about it. Danny Boyle made a film about it. It was a really great film, but it's an even better book. Aaron Rastrom or something like that. And he was running in the canyons in like somewhere remote in America, Utah, one of those kind of desert places. And he ran, dislodged a boulder, was in a canyon, boulder fell on his hand. He ended up having to chop through his own hand. He videoed it. I think that would be even my limit with a GoPro. I video a lot of things. I don't think I could chop off my own hand. He chopped his hand off, walked out, was found miraculously by somebody, and then he survived, and he's got a hook on his hand now. Read the book, because then you will always tell someone where you're going, because the reason they couldn't find him for days is because he used cash instead of cards, so they couldn't trace his card. He'd been a bit vague about where he might be going. He hadn't really told anyone his plans, so they only really noticed a couple of days later when he didn't turn up for work. So he'd been out all weekend by that time, and nobody had even started to be looking for him. So yeah, tell someone where you're going. That is an order. Okay, are you a scuba diver, Claire? I am not a scuba diver now, but I did a gap year, darlings, and I did a scuba diving conservation project on a tiny island called Roatan off the coast of Honduras. And so we were surveying the reef because it got battered in one of those storms. And so we were surveying the reef to find out which areas had really high biodiversity so that we could tell the fishermen to fish elsewhere so that the reef could recover, basically. So we were doing surveys of the reef. So we were diving twice a day, 6 days a week. So we had to get up really early in the morning because obviously you have to fit in the 2 dives and your kind of nitrogen bubbling out of the blood time. We had to get up at 5 in the morning to start diving at like 6 and then dive later in the day to get all that rest time in. So yes, I was a scuba diver. I was a rescue diver, but I haven't scuba dived for 10 years now. So I wouldn't call myself a scuba diver now. I can't even remember how to put all the stuff together. But we got so good because we did like over 100 dives. We got to the point where we were like upside down looking at algae and we could just draw in a breath and go up and breathe out and go down again. And that's really, really good control. Because I've got so many good diving stories. I'll do a diving channel next. Like after a few years of this one, I'll do a diving channel. Guy Greatrex has come back in. He says it's called a Run Angel, and it's a button you wear like a watch, and in danger you press it and it sends a message to a loved one of location, and it has a loud beep too. Excellent. This is so handy, and this is why it's great to do the Q&A like with everybody around, because it's just really nice to get everybody else's thoughts and opinions. Brilliant. Right, we have got time for another couple of questions, maybe one more question because it is coming up to an hour now, and I'll save the rest for another time. If you've got any questions, quickly type them here and I'll see if I can get through them, but I was going to finish like in a minute. But I just wanted to do this other thing because I have everything here to show you. Julie wanted a pack for a tiny lady, so I've got some ideas for you, Julie. I've got them here. So the packs that I would suggest if you are a tiny lady are, first of all, the Adidas. I've put them one pack inside another pack. This is the white one is the Adidas Terex Agravic pack, and that the small of that is very small, so that's a good option for small people. The inside of that is the Camelbak Ultra Pro, which I wore on the Isle of Man. So this comes in a few sizes. This one is the small. I think they also do an extra small. So I'm a size like 10/12, so go for the extra small in this one if they do one. But that is a nice small pack as well. There's also the Salomon Advanced Skin 8 set, which is specifically designed for women. So if you go for the extra small in that, then that would be a really good option. The Raid Light Responsive 10 litre Women's Fit Pack, the extra small in that is tiny. I wore a medium, so that's the Women's Fit. And there is this new product which I wanted to show you and get your opinions on, really, to end the show. We're going to have a little bit from Pascal before we leave. But this is a product from Free Train, and I've been wearing it on a couple of runs just lately. I wore it to Running Club last night as well, and it is just like you just carry your phone and nothing else. So it's a really interesting new product. It costs £20, and it's an alternative for if you don't get on with those hip belts, then you could get one of these and you're just carrying your phone here. I think personally the two things that I want to carry if I'm not carrying very much is a phone for sure and water. I always want to carry water. So what I would really like, and I've told them this already, is it'd be really nice if they had a thing on the back that just took one of those soft bottles there and you could sort of like get it out like a bow and arrow kind of thing going on. So I've worn this a couple of times, and the exciting thing is when you undo that bit there, your phone is in here and you can access it. So I could actually show that to you, couldn't I, with my actual phone. So what you do is, it's very straightforward really. You just, first of all, you've got to put this thing onto your phone, otherwise it sort of bounces about a bit. I was like, oh, but you've sent me an iPhone 5 thing, but it stretches. So you can put it on like this. It stretches really well. So you just put it on like so, and then you put it in the little pouch like so. Otherwise it will bounce up and down and it will sort of bash you just here, and that's really annoying. The first time I wore it, I didn't put it in the thing, and it bashed me, and I was like, a little bit annoying. But there you go, phone in a thing. And then when you're running along, say if you've got like one of those OS mapping apps on your phone, or someone texts you and you stop to have a look at it, you just go like this and like this, and you can do everything on your phone. La-di-da. Get into your phone, into the phone, there you go, all your stuff, OS Maps app, there you go, done. But map on the app. I did say to them it'd be handy. Oh, there's also a thing in its bum here that you can put headphones in, like you can get your headphones out of its bum there. But who hasn't got those little things that you don't have to have wires in anymore? I don't personally listen to music on the run, so I'm a bad person to ask about that. It's also got some nice reflective strips on it, and it's got reflective strips on the back too. I said to them, why not make one which is all reflective as well, because that sort of serves two purposes there. I'm just going to put it on for you so you can see what it looks like. But this is a good option for small people, because this comes up quite small. They must do them in different sizes. But yeah, it is like so. Like that. So it's like that and like that. So the only thing is, it's quite warm as a thing. Like, I'm not really it's quite substantial for only carrying a phone, which phones are only about 300 grams. So ta-da, like that. And then I did ask them, what about if it was velcroed here so that you could sort of hold it here, which is kind of more useful for it. Like, you could trip over stuff if you're looking down there. They said they thought about that, but it just makes it more complicated. And if you want to do that, then you just open it and take the phone out. Fair enough. So yeah, that is from Free Train. It's 20 quid. Be interested to know what you all think. After the live broadcast, type in the comments below and let me know what you think. I think it's good for when you just want to carry a phone. But I want water here. It's quite substantial, so the times when you're not going to carry much is usually kind of warm. You don't need to carry loads of extra stuff. So I was a bit warm in this last night, has to be said. And I think if it's just carrying a phone, it could be a little bit slimmer. And also this just felt a bit like an extra bra strap. And it's sort of like, I was like, felt a bit corseted by it by the end of the day. So maybe I should get a bigger size. I hope they do bigger sizes. Yeah, anyway, so that's that. Lots of people saying, Mad Paul says he is a firm believer in wire headphones for long runs because it massively increases battery life. Fair enough, there you go. That would be why there is the little hole in the bottom of the phone thing. Great. Bran Van Diemen wants to know if it is comfortable on your chest after a time. Yeah, it was pretty comfortable. It's a little bit like the GoPro holder. You can get a chest harness for the GoPro, and it's here. If you haven't got it in that plastic thing that I showed you, the black thing that goes around it, there, if you haven't got it in that, it bounces up and down, and that is really annoying. So you have to put it in that little thing. Otherwise, it doesn't bounce up and down too much. I think it's an interesting option. Definitely an interesting option, but I don't know if I'll wear it much just because I'm just getting a bit too hot. It's sort of, because it cuts you off here. You haven't got a free-flowing t-shirt anymore, so it sort of makes you warmer. But if it was a sort of a cold day, you'd want probably a backpack with a bit more stuff in it. So yeah, I'm going to wear it a little bit more and get a little bit more feedback on it. But yeah, if you can wear a waist belt, then I think that's a good option for being cooler. Like, this is definitely not a cool thing to wear. But yeah, it's nice to have lots of options out there on the market, isn't it? So, I have got an update now from Pascal Mathenet, who is one of my patrons, who is doing the OCC, which is in Chamonix next week. It is 55 kilometers with 3,500 meters of ascent. Very, very hilly and mountainous. And she doesn't live in a hilly and mountainous place. So we are now going to catch up with her. I'm really sorry about the windiness. I've seem to have done something to my screen, so I can't see Ecamm anymore. Where is it? Okay, here we go. So let's just hear from Pascal, because she is giving us a really nice insight into what it's like to train for the hills in a flat place where she lives. So here we go. Sorry about the sound. You might want to turn it down a little bit if you've got headphones.
Unfortunately, we live too far away from any decent hills or mountains, so most of our training is here in Essex, which is quite flat. So here we have a little piece of track which is actually gently undulating, pretty much the only one around. As you can hear, it's along the waterway, so this is not very glamorous, but what we have to do when you train for the UTMB and you live in the flats.
Fab! So that's Pascal there. Hopefully I'm going to see Pascal at the UTMB next week when I go and cover it, and I know that she has been training really, really hard. Sorry about the sound. It was a bit windy, but that is what Pascal has been up to. So she's basically found a hill near her and she's doing loads of hill reps to replicate the hilly terrain that she's going to face on the race. So finally, before I go, thanks very much for watching, everybody. And I just want to say a thank you to all my Wild Ginger Running heroes over the last couple of months who basically share my content on social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you see from me that you've shared, thank you. And I am just going to show you a few people who have done it this week. So we've got Trailblazers. We have got, oh, no, sorry, that's the same one. We have got Peter Roll. We've got Helen Blakemore. We've got Miles with Michelle. And now I'm going to delete them all because I've forgotten where I've started. So, there's no easy way to do this, is there? Here we go. I found an easier way. Now, next up, we've got Justin Gardinier. Is it Gardiner? Gardiner, sorry. I need practice doing this, obviously. This is why I don't do this live. Scott L. And then we've got Kath Evans. She's a firm supporter of the channel. And Sarah Williams as well. Sarah Williams actually runs a really cool podcast where she interviews loads of inspiring women. So definitely check out her podcast if you want something to listen to while you're on the run. So then we have got Anne Lazar, who's been retweeting my tweets. We've got, it's the same one again. It's the same one again. I keep going to the same bit. Alan Hinks. So who knows who Alan Hinks is? Hit me up in the live comments if you know who Alan Hinks is. Then we've got Neil Barton. Thank you very much, Neil. We've got 247 Running as well. Thank you very much. Then there is, I've done the same one again. I really need to refine this process. I've not done this before. Emma Taylor. She's been retweeting my tweets. And Ron Morgan. Well done. Thank you very much to him. Emily Woodhouse, thank you very much. So anyone who retweets my stuff, thank you so much. This is the real Ian Moody as well, answered one of his questions as well today. And Stronger Fitter Older, who's been retweeting my Isle of Man stuff. So that is amazing. Thank you everybody so much for retweeting my stuff and sharing the trail running love. Basically my aim in life is to get as many people running off-road as possible. So thank you to everybody who shares the news about my channel and hooks people up with me on social media, because yeah, basically, the more people we can get running off-road, the better. It's a fantastic sport, isn't it? It's our favourite sport. So let's get everybody else doing what we love to do. But not too many, otherwise the trails will be full. No, we can't say Brilliant. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you to everybody. Chuck Coffin, I'll just give him a little shout out. He's saying cheers. Raz Does Bushcraft is saying good day / evening, everyone. Have fun running them trails. Great to see you. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And let me know in the comments below, once this thing has gone live, whether you liked the Q&A live or whether you prefer the edited ones. I thought it was really fun, personally, doing this live because I really enjoyed everybody's comments. And we've had a nice comment here about the free train as well, which is this vest thing that I'm wearing. He found it great up to 10k. Didn't even notice he was carrying a phone. Also, you can take your keys, card and gels in the vest. Worth a try for 20 quid. Yes, there's also a little pocket here I should have mentioned that you can put your keys in. This side could do with a pocket similarly, but then you're starting to get into vest territory, aren't you? Yeah, it's a fantastic choice for carrying a phone if you don't want to carry much else. I also hooked a windproof through this as well and just carried it along with me. Fantastic. Guy Greater-X saying it's been great fun. Conrad Anderson saying great chance. Oh, check your email, Conrad. I've sent you a training plan. Alex Dehoto said live was fun. Great. I'm glad everybody is enjoying the live version of Q&A. Keep your questions coming. I will answer as many as possible as I can in the next Q&A, which I may do live because it's been fun. And I am trying to line up interviews with Paul Tierney coming up on a Wednesday evening. I'm also trying to line up interviews with some injury specialists as well, because I've had a few questions coming in on that. And Neve says live was great fun as well. Rob Jones says many thanks. Everyone's saying bye. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. And let me know your feedback in the description below. Next week, I'm not going to be live on Wednesday. I might try and put something out before, but I might not have time because I'll be on a plane. Basically, tune in next week for stuff about the UTMB at random. Okay, it's going to be fun and it's going to be interesting, and I'm going to meet loads of really cool athletes there, so I'm super excited about that. Join me next week at the UTMB. Cool. Thank you very much for watching, and I will say night. I just got to mention 2 more people. Mad Paul, hello, thank you very much. And Stephen Court enjoyed the live show. Thank you very much, everybody. I've been Claire Maxted. You're watching Wild Ginger Running. Good day and good night.